Hello, guys. How are we tonight? Welcome and thank you for coming on this very special announcement we've got tonight on the crypto's next big move. Um, quick one, two about myself. My name is Jamie. I'm a FIFO worker and I've been with MTC for 4 months now, and I'm loving every minute of it and starting to get pretty handy with DeFi, and that's my little niche at the moment. So it's very exciting. Um, Quick one on tonight. I just want to see if everyone could please put their phones on silent. That would be fantastic. And can I get a 111 in the chat for who's excited about tonight's big move with the announcement with Michael Sloggett? Awesome, guys. Love it. So I'm really excited for our call tonight with Michael Sloggett. Michael's been in the game since 2017, and he's an incredibly successful trader. And he's also taught over 40,000 students through educational companies. So without further ado, I will hand it over to the man himself, Mr. Michael Sloggett.
Hey, get it, mate. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Good to see you.
Mate, are you in your FIFO room at the moment?
Yeah, mate. The one-star accommodation.
Mate, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So and what are you doing? You doing DeFi and just hanging on Zooms and stuff in between?
Yeah, basically, mate. Getting on Zooms, doing some DeFi, and yeah, making a little bit of extra passive income. It's good.
Fucking hell, making $1,500 a day living in a donger and then making friends and making bucks on the computer while everyone else is smashing piss. I love it.
Yeah, mate,
I
it's
love
great.
it, mate.
Gym, DeFi, and saunas. Yeah, I love it.
Mate, I've got a couple of girls that were thinking about joining MTC. I just sent them a photo of you and said, "Oh, this bloke's in it. He seems all right, mate." They signed up straight away. What's that about? Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
that's awesome. Thanks, mate.
bugger.
Legend.
Mate, thank you so much for the kind words, and thank you so much for the introduction. So, real quick, guys, my name's Michael. I'm the CVO at a company called MTC Education. And real quick, I've been in crypto since 2016, became very involved in 2017, created my very first education company towards the end of 2017, been helping people learn how to trade and make money in these markets now for, wow, it's going on about 8 years. And we've helped over 40,000 people in that time through our many courses, platforms, events, retreats, and it's been an absolute blast. So, good thing is, after 8 years in the market, I've kind of seen it all. I've seen the good, the bad. I've seen the ugly. I've been on the amazing side of what crypto can provide. I've also been on the gut wrenching, most horrendous side of it. That some of the stuff I absolutely pray that you guys never, ever, ever have to go through. And it's created a lot of learning opportunities. It's given me the ability to have the perspective from many different positions. I am very much, and a lot of people don't know, or they assume that this isn't the case. I am a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm up there with the guys who all say that Bitcoin's going to $1 million, and I'm right in that tent. However, I'm also very logical and very realistic with the whens, the hows, what's going on in the world, and how markets move. So, this call, I'm going to share some data with you guys that it's going to give you a very different outlook, because I'm a Bitcoin maximalist, but I'm going to be one of the guys that sits here and says, well, right now isn't probably the time to be too excited about Bitcoin. But I'm also the guy that's going to say you should be very, very excited in Bitcoin as a whole. If you've been following me since 2017, the one bit of advice that I've given everyone is do yourself a favor and simply acquire as much Bitcoin as humanly possible. And if you had followed that advice since 2017, regardless of when you had bought, if you had bought a little bit every month, like I've suggested everyone should do, I don't care if it's $50, $100, you would be sitting on a pretty penny today. So I want to get straight into this call. It won't be the longest call in the history of the world. The truth is, what I'm going to go through with you guys will actually be pretty short and sweet. But let me share this with you all. So before we get into it, the one thing that I really wanted to share is this. I have said over and over and over again, when it comes to global markets, okay, or pretty much anything that's going on in the world, it's very, very simple. If America sneezes, Australia catches a cold. And what I mean by that is if there is something going on in the US, the ripple effect is that it usually impacts Australia in a very, very negative way. Same in a positive light. So in this, I posted this on social media in a page called Crypto Calls Education. You can join that group. It's got over 40,000 people in it. I post stuff in there all the time. So do a bunch of my other educators, a bunch of our amazing moderators, and it's completely free. You can jump in there and it doesn't cost a dime. Been around since 2017 and a really good resource. So this just reads the US personal savings rate dropped to 2.97 in July, and its lowest print in 2 years. So what that means is, in very, very layman's talk, is the amount of money in individuals like me and you in personal bank accounts has dropped to the lowest it's ever been in 2 years. So savings as a percentage of disposable personal income are at its second lowest level since the 2008 financial crisis. Again, what does that mean? In 2008 financial crisis, that's when, pretty much the entire world went to shit. This is the second lowest amount of money that individuals out in the world have had since 2008. So that's very, very interesting. So now the savings rate has been declining for 14 consecutive months. What that also means is that every month for the last 14 months, people in the US consecutively are having less and less and less and less money in their savings account, meaning the cost of living and the amount of money that it's decimated. And instead of being able to put money away, whatever money they had put away is starting to dwindle down and becoming less and less and less. So to put this into perspective, savings rates averaged 6% in the 2009 to 2019 period, and 11% in the 1980s. So as you can see, 2.9% compared to an average of 6% between 2009 to 2019, and 11% in the 80s, which was, the highest it's kind of been. It's not good. So on top of high inflation, wage growth has stalled, which has led to record usage of credit cards and low saving rates. So what that means is people are using credit cards and they're using their savings. So they're using money that they actually don't have, and then also using money that they've saved. And when you look at the data, you'll hear me say, if you hang around me long enough, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. I don't give a fuck what people say. All I care about is what the data tells me, because the one thing I've learned is humans are emotional creatures that will say just about anything to make themselves believe a narrative that they want to happen for themselves, instead of simply just looking at the facts and the data and reading what that information has for you. So everything here tells me that people in the US have less money than they've ever had. It's been declining for 14 months consecutively, and we're at the same level that the 2008 global financial crisis happened, that pretty much destroyed world economies worldwide, set the stock market into a free fall. It was a pretty horrible time, okay? So people keep saying, well, when's the bull run going to happen? Well, bull run needs people. Bull run needs, retail investors. It needs people like me and you to be buying Bitcoin. People say, well, in 2017, it went mental. Yes, in 2017, people had a lot more money. The other thing that people keep saying to me goes, oh, but Michael, what about all the, smart money? And what about all of the hedge funds? And what about all this? Let me ask you this. Do you think smart money and hedge funds like buying Bitcoin at all-time highs? Or do you think the smart money, if they're as smart as you think, wouldn't drive the price down, knowing that retail can't pump it up, to scoop it up at the cheapest price humanly possible? So again, when I look at the data and I look at everything that's going on, these are the things that I take into consideration. Now, the next thing that I'm going to show you is the technical analysis. Okay, so this is the charts. I'm going to teach this and show this in a way that hopefully everyone can understand. If you don't know what technical analysis is, I'm going to use the most basic of charts and just show you a couple of things that are happening, that have happened in the past, that can kind of show us and give us an indication of where I believe we could potentially be heading. So one thing that I wanted to do before anything else, got a guy in our community. His name is ASX Trader. He's one of our educators, one of the smartest guys on God's green earth. He does a call with MTC every single week where he sets everyone up for the week and shows everyone his thoughts. And I'm a very simple person when it comes to technical analysis. Very, very, very simple. You can see here that ASX has drawn Fibonacci. He's shown some other zones. And what I love about ASX is the genuine banter and fun that we have. And you can see here said, you make things so hard. It goes to the red line. And this is me just pretty much saying Bitcoin was going to go to here and then, pretty much stop. When we look at Bitcoin right now, we can see Bitcoin went to there. It's stopped, and now it's starting to look like it could be wanting to reverse a little bit. Now, when we look at Bitcoin, okay, I'm not going to look at Bitcoin in the smaller time frames. This is where lots of people are getting so caught up right now. And the reason is on the smaller time frames, since way back in March, Bitcoin hasn't done anything, okay? And this is where people keep looking at this going, oh, Bitcoin's going up. And every time it comes up, it just runs into what is called resistance, okay? Or a resistance zone. And every time it gets up into this zone, it either rejects or creates what is called a lower high. Now, a lower high, in very, very simple, easy to understand layman's terms, is every time Bitcoin drops down and then goes on another little pump, it creates a high, but this high is lower than the previous high, and this high is lower than the previous high, and this high is lower than the previous high, and this pump is high, but it's lower than the previous high. And yes, we just pumped from 52,000 to 56. And everyone goes, oh, but Bitcoin just went up 4 grand overnight. Yeah, it did, dum-dum. You're right. And it created yet again another lower high. Now, when we look at market structure, which is what this is called, market structure only comes in 3 forms. We have what's called an uptrend, we have what's called a downtrend, and we also have what is called a period of consolidation. Now, periods of consolidation are when we head sideways like this, but the thing during this period of consolidation where Bitcoin has gone between 73,000 and as low as 49,000, yes, we've consolidated and gone sideways, but we've also been creating lower highs and lower lows, which to me says that the market is weakening. And what we need to see is a breakout and above 72,000 for Bitcoin to really go on a run. Now, based on everything that I just shared, if the smart money isn't going to buy up everyone's Bitcoin and send it over 72,000, who is? Because I've just shown you that mathematically, people have less money than they've ever had in the history of kind of existence. And right now, there's also more coins than there ever was. Solana is currently producing, on average, 16,000 shit coins a day. In 2017, when Bitcoin went on its crazy run, there was about 400 coins in existence total. Okay, so these are things that we need to really, really consider. Is if no one's got any money, the smart money probably doesn't want to buy at all-time highs, who's going to push it to the moon? Now, if all of a sudden retail does start buying and all of a sudden the smart money does want to send this up, I'm not excited. I don't give a shit about Bitcoin until it's over this 72K region. Because if it does get up and over that 72K region, the cool thing is the next stop is, $88,000 to $100,000. That's just where it's going to go. When we get there, though, is when we get up and above this area here. Okay, and that's all I'm really concerned about. Now, the big thing is when we look at this and we say, okay, cool, I understand that, that's great. So why wouldn't it just go up right now? So the chart that I always go back to is what is called a monthly chart. Okay, and again, if candlesticks mean nothing to you, if these charts mean nothing to you, it's completely fine. All this means is that every one of these green or red dots represents 1 month, okay? And these candles move up and down, and depending on where the price start and finish will determine if the candle is green or red. So if Bitcoin was $1 and after a month Bitcoin was worth $3, the candle would be red, right? Because Bitcoin went up. If the scenario was the opposite and Bitcoin was $1, but after a month Bitcoin was 50 cents, the candle would be red, okay? Because Bitcoin's gone down and it's closed lower than it opened, or it's closed higher than it's opened. So there's a couple of things that I really look at on the monthly, okay? And the big one is what is called MACD. Now, MACD is just something that shows momentum, okay? Markets move in momentum. And what we can see when we look at this is if we zoom right in, this is what momentum is gauged on. There's a thing called the signal line and a thing called the MACD line. And as you can see here, when Bitcoin topped out at 70 or 69,000, I'm gonna do this because it makes it easy. Right, we can see here that the histogram had gone from having all this big, beautiful green bullish momentum, and it was starting to taper off, and the signal line was starting to curve over and look like it wanted to cross. Now, when the histogram flipped, that's when Bitcoin went from, and I remember sharing this at 64,000, saying that, this is about to cross and Bitcoin's going to 12K. Everyone loves to hang shit on me because we never got to 12K. They go, oh, aren't you the guy that said it was going to 12K? Yeah, numbnuts. I said that at $64,000 and it went to 15,000. So I was pretty damn close, right? But people won't remember at 64K when everyone was saying Bitcoin's going to 100K. And I said, well, it's probably going to go to 12. They all thought I was an idiot at 64. Then at 15, they thought I was a dickhead because I was $3,000 off. Humans are idiots. What you need to look at and go, okay, cool, what were the things that were making me think that? Because there's a couple of things that are really, really simple to easy to see. The big thing here is the market structure, okay? The candlesticks weren't really beautiful and green like this. You can see when Bitcoin does run like it did in October 20, it just goes paint, 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 pause, and then the money's run out. Right now, you can see we went, since January in 23, it's just paint, 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 pause, okay? The other thing that we can see in this pause is the histogram here is starting to roll out, just like it did in 2021. You can see it tapers right off. We can also see that the signal line and the MACD line are starting to curve over and looking like they want to cross just like they did in 2021. What that's showing me is that the buying momentum is gone, right? People aren't buying Bitcoin anymore. The momentum is down, which kind of aligns with the fact that for the last 14 months, people have had less and less money. So if we count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, people started running out of money here. And then, every single month on month, they had less and less money. And then at the peak here for the last 6 months, we've just kind of been going tapering off. So if the signal line crosses the MACD line and the histogram flips, that then says that the bullish momentum is over and the buying momentum has well and truly finished, okay? Now, if you go, all right, Mick, but that's pretty cool, but how does that really work? Well, if we go back in time again, and if we have a look at what happened in 2017, and again, this is 2017. Bitcoin went from January, it was $800, and it went from $800 to $20,000. And you can see here, right at 20,000, the buying momentum started tapering off. Okay, and you can see as Bitcoin started coming down, the histogram started flipping, and then we crossed right here, and Bitcoin fell from 7,000 all the way down to 3,000. And then as we started coming up, again, we got the cross again, we separated, and the histogram turned very, very bullish. And again, it's just a simple indicator that I use on a very, very, very large scale to help me predict very, very big moves. Now, the other thing that I look at is a thing called the Bollinger Bands. Now, Bollinger Bands are, again, just hidden levels of what's called support and resistance. Again, I don't want to get into all the technicals of it. All I want to show you is simple, easy to read, identify patterns where things have happened in the past that are very, very similar to what's happening right now. When it comes to Bollinger Bands, there are things called reversal signals. The big thing for reversal signals is when this line, now this line is actually price. In the last chart, I showed you what price looked like in candles. I'm just using it as a line for this example because it makes it really easy to see. If I went back to this, it would just look like that, okay? But to make it super, super clean and very, very easy to read, I just want to show you this, okay? We'll get rid of the markers because we don't need them. So, with the Bollinger Bands, the upper band acts as a level of resistance, the bottom band acts as a level of support, and the middle band is very, very, very neutral. But when crossing over it, it is a leading indicator to overall direction. Now, traditionally what happens is when we have a close outside of a Bollinger Band, either above or below, that is an indication that price could be about to reverse, okay? So as you can see here, this is Bitcoin at 66,000 and Bitcoin came down, it hit the lower band, it bounced, it continued down, and then just here you can see we closed outside the Bollinger Bands, okay? Now this here to me was actually a massive, massive indication of why the market was never going to get to 12 grand. Again, I was very public and said, hey, I think I was wrong about 12 grand. And at 15,500, very publicly, it's all transparent, I made a video saying, I don't think 12K is going to come. And I believe Bitcoin is probably, the bottom's probably in for now. The funny thing was, when I said that, everyone who said that I was a dickhead at 64K for saying it was going to go for 12, now we're all calling me an idiot because I said that it wasn't going to go. And we go, oh, Bitcoin's gone to 9 grand. Bitcoin's gone to 1 digit. You know, until it's 4 figures, Bitcoin's over, blah, 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 blah. So when we close outside the Bollinger Bands and we also have a significant cross in MACD, to me, that's a really, really good leading indicator, okay? So as you can see here over time, as Bitcoin has come up, yes, we did jump out, but we've stayed well and truly above the center band. But what's happened here is we've closed outside the top band. We've then crossed the middle band. And now this is acting as a level of resistance. And we're now starting to trend down in the lowest section of the bands. We can also see here that MACD has crossed. We can see that the histogram is quite bearish. And this shows me that this is a significant reversal pattern. Now, when we look at this on the monthly, again, it gives us an even greater indication. So price came all the way down. We closed very, very outside of the bands. And if we look left, back in 2021, the exact same thing happened. We closed outside the bands after a very parabolic run. And then when that center band crossed, we went for a very deep dive. Again, I can see here that we've crossed, we haven't crossed, but we've definitely closed outside. The reason why I believe we have to break 72K for it to be exciting is that shows that this center band's intact and the run continues and we're heading on, okay? But when I look at MACD and the histogram, it's showing me that that momentum is slowing just like it did in 2017. And that's why, let's say if Bitcoin went from 56,000 to 72,000 and everyone started going, oh, slug it, you fucking idiot. I told you Bitcoin's going to the moon. Next stop 100K. Everyone reloads rocket ships, blah, 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 to all the losers who didn't buy. but then the signal line crosses the MACD line and we don't even get close to the top, and then we just start demolishing down, it will be just like what happened here in 2021. And if we go back in time again, you can see in 2017, we closed very, very hard out and above. And if we go back even way back here, all the way back to when Bitcoin was $1,000 and it went on its very big run from $77, every time we've closed outside the Bollinger Bands historically, it has been a significant indication that the market is looking like it well and truly wants to reverse. So what do you do with all this information? Again, I'm not saying sell all your Bitcoin. I'm not saying that Bitcoin's over. Remember at the start of the call, I said I'm a Bitcoin maximalist who believes Bitcoin will be going to, all-time highs, but I'm just very, very open about the fact that I personally right now don't believe it's going to be happening anytime soon. Here's what I do know though. When Bitcoin does move, it will move fast, it will be quick, and it will be aggressive. And when we break out of that 72K region, it will be a very fast run up. And just like always, we'll take the elevator up and then we'll take the stairs back down. And this cycle will just go on and on and on and on and on and on and on, because that's how markets work, okay? So what is the next big move? And the next big move, I firmly believe, is the decision that you make in what you do with this time. Me personally, I am so in DeFi right now. That is my primary focus. It's where I'm making really, really good returns, and it's where I'm making passive residual income. The reason why I'm spending so much money, so much time on DeFi right now is something that ASX said, that it's one of the best analogies that I've ever heard, is if you want to go surfing, who's ever tried to surf in whitewash? Right? If you've ever tried to surf in whitewash, you don't catch any waves, you get cold, and by the time you get out, you're just pissed off and frustrated because nothing bloody happened. What we're seeing right now in the market is what I consider whitewash. I only want to trade two types of markets, a bear market and a bull market. The reason why, in a very easy to identify bearish market, I can short everything and make massive amounts of money. In that bear market, I can accumulate so much tether that when we get to a period of consolidation, I'm in a position to buy lots of Bitcoin and also leverage Bitcoin to go long when the market starts going up. So I need to see the market give me a clear direction of where it really, truly wants to head. Anyone that's sitting there right now that's saying they know which direction Bitcoin's going to go in, those guys are fucking idiots. They are literally just telling you what they hope and feel based on emotion. Is Bitcoin going to go up long term? My belief is yes, absolutely. Is it going to happen in the next week? Probably not. Next 2 weeks? Probably not. My belief system is we have a couple of months until this sideways whitewash works itself out and you get an opportunity to either long or short and make your money. If you're simply holding Bitcoin right now, my advice would be using that Bitcoin in decentralized finance to earn yields, something that I'm doing every single day now. I've made some really funny videos about it. I've been posting them very publicly, and that's because I don't want to surf whitewash. I don't want to be sitting around getting cold, not catching any waves, getting frustrated and angry because there's nothing here to surf. What I want to do is I want to come back. I want to come back when this says, you know what, this is probably going to snap and cross. Because if this snaps and crosses, I'm just telling you, the short that is going to make you the kind of money that you truly want, that's going to make you more tether than you've probably ever had. And that's going to put you in a position that when Bitcoin does come down here, you're going to be able to buy 3 times the amount that you would when you bought here hoping and wishing and dreaming that it's simply going to go up. So my advice is this. One, learn more about what I spoke about tonight. The technical side of this, I've given you a very simple, very bastardized version of my beliefs. I've shown you historically what some of these indicators have told us in the past. But what I would do is really kind of spend some time learning this stuff. The more time that you spend now during these whitewash times, it's like the age-old saying of, when's the best time, no, what's that analogy about, the guy who chops trees, and who chops the most trees, the guy who chops the trees for 24 hours straight, or the guy who spends 23 hours sharpening his axe. Now is the ultimate time to be sharpening your axe. Like, now's the time you really want to get good. Now's where you want to go, all right, this is where I'm going to strike. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to dedicate as much time as I can to learning. Because what I'm telling you is if price does come down to here, this is when most of you will be so emotional, so panicky, and saying, oh my God, how low is it going to go? That you won't take any action anyway. The amount of people that have said, oh, Mick, I should have bought Bitcoin at 3 grand when you said, oh, Mick, I bought Bitcoin at 20 grand, and then when it went back down to 16, I sold it all like an idiot. Then it went to 66,000, and I bought some more, and then when it went back down to 15, I fucking sold it all like an idiot because I panicked. And now it's back up to 54,000. What do you think I should do? Should I buy now? And I'm like, no, you should learn how this works, like I've been telling you the entire time. So when this stuff happens, you're not so emotionally juiced up in it all that you can look at the data and just make a logical decision without all the emotion and go, all right, here's how I'm going to proceed. The second thing that I would do is, while you're learning all of this technical stuff, get really, really, excited and interested in the DeFi space, because there is so much money to be made there. And what I believe is, while all that money is circulating in DeFi, it means there's not as much money being traded as well. Now, I know, again, from looking at data, volume on exchanges is at an all-time low. That means people aren't trading right now like they were, because everyone's kind of in limbo. So if there's no volume being traded on exchanges, right, what that means is, well, everyone's in this hurry up and wait type scenario. There's all these opportunities, well, all these weird Solana things are being made in the DeFi space that you can just make money while you're learning all this other stuff that you want to learn. So here's the thing. You can learn in a bunch of cool places. YouTube is in abundance. There's a place called Baby Pips that is really, really good. The one thing that you just got to be careful of is make sure that the people that you're learning from know their shit. Also, make sure that the resources that you're learning from, don't have some other agenda. I have tried learning some DeFi space from some other people, only to find out that they've attached to some coin or some network and they're getting paid to do this. It's pretty, it is an unregulated space. So you just got to be careful. Or if you want to come learn with us at MTC, we would love to have you. Didn't bring you here tonight to pitch your MTC, but what I will say is this. In the last 8 years, and after teaching, we're on our way to having 50,000 students under our belt, we've created some massive success stories, and we kind of know what we're talking about. I believe that we're the best company in the world to facilitate and do this. I firmly believe we do it better than anyone else on the planet. And if you want to learn this stuff, I believe that we're the best place to do it. However, if you want to go somewhere else, that is completely up to you. So my name is Michael Sloggett. It's an absolute pleasure to chat with all you guys tonight. I hope it added some value. And more than anything, don't ever give your money to other people to invest it on your behalf. That is a fucking great thing to say, Kimbo. Don't ever give your money to anyone else to invest it on your behalf. If there was a good investor, as they say, they wouldn't need your fucking money now, would they? Food for thought. Have a great night.